Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Nope, my name is Mike Piwowarski. I come to you live from the East Coast. I am the co-host with the most from the coast with the most here on the Rundown. 2A Views, conservative news. And Craig, how was your weekend?
Actually, it was quite fun. I had a good time. I was actually at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Dallas, Texas. I had a chance to hang out with Second Amendment advocates from all across the country, as well as media folks. Talked about the Second Amendment and the fight that's going on, and realized didn't necessarily realize is not the appropriate term. Got a chance to celebrate the fact that there are a lot of really good things going on all across the country.
That's very good. Very good to hear. I'm sure we'll hear more about those. Any special guests there?
Actually, there was a good friend of the Second Amendment was there, Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse.
The patron saint of Kenosha.
Or the patron saint of F around and find out.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So good on him. Good on him. Yeah, I guess he wasn't doing a lot of media, though, just doing a lot of talking.
No, he wasn't. He, obviously being as he's still dealing with some of the legal ramifications, the civil legal ramifications from the event. He declined to do any media while he was there, so I can understand that. But he was very nice. Took pictures with a lot of folks, talked with a lot of folks. Seemed to be a very nice young man.
Right. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah.
How was your weekend?
Let's see. Some storm recovery a little earlier in the week, like Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday. And I knew you were gonna have your travel day Monday. We couldn't get the equipment to work right, so that kind of got extended into flying and doing some stuff out of town. So it was a long weekend, but work weekend, but rewarding. So it went well.
And by the way, folks, we do want to apologize. Unfortunately, sometimes when we're remote, you never know what you never know what the situation is going to be like. Even if we have all of our equipment, you never know if what the power situation is going to be like. You often don't know what the internet connectivity is going to be like. So sometimes it can be a hit and a miss. And unfortunately, this weekend it was a miss. But if you ever miss us, you can always go back and watch old episodes. But by the way, if you want to watch some of the interviews that I did for the Firearms Policy Coalition, go to 2anews.us. That's 2anews.us. Or just go to 2A News on Facebook or on YouTube, and you can watch some of the interviews. I got a chance to talk with Dr. John Adine, with David Kopel of the Independence Institute. A bunch of different folks. So if you want to know what I was doing over the weekend, check that out.
Yeah, it was good. Craig finally had to go to the electronics store and get his California to Texas converter plugs to make sure everything worked properly.
That's right. I need, because we can't in California. We're not allowed to use like coal created energy. I don't know how my system figured it out, but
Yep.
just kidding. Just kidding. For those of you out there wondering. Just kidding.
Yep.
All right. Hey, before we get started, I realize, Mike, we have to give a shout out to our sponsors.
Yep. Let's say hi to our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. You got yourself an AR in the past 5 years. Odds are the barrel's probably, you already have one of theirs, but now you can go buy direct from them. And, you can change out the barrel in your current rifle. You can get a new barrel for your new project. So just reach out to them, hitmanindustries.net. Also, the California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines there in California. Please make sure you reach out to them and lend a hand any way you can. And if you want some awesome tactical gear, some combat gear, go over to our good friends at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are the folks who help us come to you, and they do so in hopes that we will get you to go to them. So follow the links in the description to this program. And if you like what you see there, spend some money with them. But whatever you do, make sure you let them know that it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also, make sure you like, share, subscribe. And if you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, make sure you hit that notification button. That way you'll be notified as soon as we go live, and you can participate in the live chat as the program is going on. It also helps us beat the algorithms, because we all know them algorithms do not like guns. Just saying.
Nay, nay. Nay, nay. Nay, nay.
All right, let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and get into what?
Wait, Craig. Wait.
What?
Wait.
Yes?
Your brain might be a little warped, but mine isn't. You know what today is, don't you?
Oh my God. I totally forgot. Wow. Thank you, Mike, because I almost forgot that it is Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a treat.
Oh, Mike, I got to tell you, one of the things that I enjoyed the most this past weekend was the tacos there in Dallas. I had tacos at a few different places, and it was quite excellent, I have to say.
Yeah, listen, I know you wouldn't think it, but we were last time we were in Dallas. I think it was for the NRA convention, and the group of us all went out to this really cool little taco trailer and had some of the best tacos I've ever had in my life. So yeah, really good stuff.
Actually, I think now, has it been in? Oh no, it probably was, because I think the last gun rights policy conference in Dallas was 5 years ago, but I do think NRA was there sometime in between.
Yeah, since then, yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Well, anyway, and very much enjoyed the tacos. Had a phenomenal time. Enjoyed immensely. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's news. We're going to start off with the news right there in Florida. We all know that whenever there is a disaster, whether it be a natural disaster like a hurricane, or it be a man-caused disaster like riots, we know that one of the things that people seem to enjoy doing, well, is looting, right? Going around and taking people's stuff. Well, Governor Ron DeSantis made it real clear. If you are going to be a looter, if you are going to decide that you are going to go and try and steal stuff, whether it be from people's home or from people's businesses, just know that we are a Second Amendment state there in Florida. And if you decide you want to try and take someone's stuff, that could end very bad for you. In fact, there was a local sheriff from Lee County who reiterated the governor's position. And here it is.
Yes, we have. And unfortunately, we took a very aggressive stance right from the beginning, as we always do. I mean, look, people's homes were washed away. Their lives were washed away. They don't even know if they have food or water, and that's what we're trying to deliver. So the last thing our residents need to worry about, or the great state of Florida residents, is people looting or preying on people that just took a hit. I took a very aggressive stance on zero tolerance. We have deputies from all over the state with our local, state, and federal partners to ensure there's no looting. Unfortunately, people tried to loot, and guess what? They got caught, and they're incarcerated. But I can tell you this, and I'll repeat myself again, this is very, very specific, okay? When I say zero tolerance, I stand with our great residents in zero tolerance, because law and order and safety and security is number one. If someone makes the error to walk into someone's house, rob, steal, and loot, they're going to be carried out. And I'm certain about it. I stand with the homeowners and with the residents. Law and order prevails all the time.
Now, is it just me, or is that basically F around and find out?
Let's F around and find out. That's what that is. That's which is nice to see from a former northern law enforcement officer transplanted down into the South, that he brought that with him, unlike what we get when we get some of our northern law enforcement partners that come down here.
Yes, we have.
So very nice to see.
Excellent. No, that was actually very, very nice to see. And that's what we ought to be seeing, period. We ought to be seeing from law enforcement, because they ought to be supporting the idea of citizens being able and being in a position to be able to protect themselves and protect their property. And, that's the sort of stuff that deters crimes. Have you seen a bunch of stories about looting taking place in Florida?
No, it's not really a thing we worry about down here anymore, because the standard's been set over at Hurricane Andrew. So we're talking in '92. We're talking 30 years ago. It was, looters shall die here, looters shall be shot, that kind of thing. And the sheriffs and the governor here have all been support. We've got many laws that have that allowed for the use of firearms during or the carrying of firearms during the storms. If you don't happen to have a firearms permit in Florida, concealed firearms permit, if you live in a disaster area, you're immediately allowed to carry that firearm concealed while moving to and from that disaster area, or while in that disaster area, if you're one of those victims. So they've done a number of things here to make it easier to secure yourself and your property during hurricanes or after hurricanes.
And that, by the way, is the way that it should be, because
Yes.
You shouldn't have to rely on law enforcement to protect you at that point, because their hands are probably kind of full.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Funny how that works.
Yep. Yeah. Lots of stuff to do, and they don't need to be worried about your little problems. So
Exactly.
you stick to this, and we'll stick to that. They're in the relief mode, the emergency response mode. And there was many calls that came in during the storm, and they were like, "Can't get to you, sorry," But now that it's over, they're trying to do more, recovery than, They do law enforcement by their mere presence alone, but they are doing as well as that they're doing the relief efforts. So,
right.
Yep.
Well,
A lot of work
hats
to be
off
done.
to them, and hats off to Governor DeSantis and law enforcement in most parts of Florida, who are standing with people and allow the citizens and the people and allowing them to protect themselves and their property.
Right. There you go.
All right, now this one. I know this one. It was from last week, but because we didn't get a chance to talk about it, I had to make sure that I talked about this one. And this has to do with Planned Parenthood, who had one of their directors, testify before Congress. Right, so went and testified before Congress, and this individual basically said before Congress, "This is medicine. Men can get pregnant." What? Wait. What? Men can get pregnant. Now, if you ever had, Mike, a question as to whether or not Planned Parenthood actually was about providing medical services, about medicine, this should raise a serious question for you.
Craig, I just want to know where I go to get the pill, right? Now, do we have to start taking the pill now? Is that what this guy's talking about?
Yes,
We can get
evidently
pregnant?
we probably need to go start taking the pill, since now we know men can get pregnant. Although, I don't know. I guess it depends on if you've gone through the change yet. And I don't know. Do men have menopause? I mean, this is called menopause, so why wouldn't men have it, right?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly right. Yeah. I would assume so, right?
So if you have not
yeah,
gone
this
through
is-
the change, you might want to
yeah.
start looking into getting on the pill, because now we know, according to Planned Parenthood, the pregnancy experts, you can get
I
pregnant.
thought I was getting the hot flashes down here, Craig, but I was the air conditioner was just going out in my truck during the summer. That's all it was. This is why do we have these? How do these people even get on TV? How do these people get consulted by the government? How do you get to go sit before Congress and say, "Oh, men can get pregnant too"? You should be able to just walk up and slap that person, take their ID, and tell them to leave. Just get out. Take that outside. Go outside with the rest of the crazy people walking around the street corners. And here's the upsetting part. That's a government-funded, government-supported operation there at Planned Parenthood.
It is beyond ridiculous. In fact, I was going to pull up the quote. I found it, and then I actually found that I could pull down the video. So I'm actually trying to pull that up right now so that we can play it, because you guys, you have to see this. This is beyond ridiculous. Because he basically says, he doesn't just say, he's asked specifically, can biological men get pregnant, right? Now,
Right.
we're not talking about, trans men or basically women who decide to become men. He specifically asked about biological men. And here was his response.
Dr. Kumar, can biological men become pregnant and give birth?
So men can have pregnancies, especially trans men.
So, Mike, okay, he said especially, so men can get pregnant, especially trans men. So, in other words, if it's especially trans men, then that means that men can get pregnant.
Yes. Yes, evidently, especially trans men have a bigger imaginary uterus than regular men.
Right. It goes on, and here I'll actually read the quote here to you. This is the latter part of it. He says, so he's asked a question again. So you're saying that a biological female who identifies as a man and therefore becomes pregnant is, quote, a man. Clyde following up, is that what you're saying? Somebody with a uterus may have the capability of becoming pregnant, whether they're a woman or a man. That doesn't make a difference. Not every person with a uterus has the ability to become pregnant. Responded, this is medicine. Now, Mike, but he said trans men, he said men can get pregnant, especially trans men. So are there non-trans men with uteruses?
Are there non-trans men with uteruses? So you mean regular men
Yes.
with uteruses? I believe
Yes.
that answer would be, why are you asking me that question? It's so stupid. Obviously, the answer is no.
But the medical expert told me that can happen.
Listen, this guy's logic. Did you hear this guy's logic? This guy's logic was you have women that have uteruses, and some women with uteruses can't get pregnant. Therefore, some men without uteruses can also get pregnant.
Oh, so then it doesn't matter whether or not you have a uterus, because sometimes if you have a uterus, you can get pregnant. You can't get pregnant.
Right.
Oh, I see. So in other words, men without a uterus, but if you don't have a uterus, can you get pregnant?
Again, you have the imaginary power of the uterus, right? That's just true. You have it's using the force, Craig. All right, you use it in the force. You use all the power of the uterus around you, and you use the uterus aura to focus and get pregnant.
Ah, I see. So I can identify as having a uterus, and that is enough for me to be able to get pregnant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So I will not be identifying as having a uterus, and therefore I will not be able to get pregnant.
No, you may actually get pregnant because
Even if I identify as not having a uterus.
that's right, because somebody else might identify you as having a uterus. So
Oh, well, darn.
or maybe you're with someone else that has a uterus and they can get you pregnant.
Folks, this is a real discussion. This is actually happening. Look, if you support Planned Parenthood, if you support the Democratic Party, if you support any of this stuff, let me just be real with you. You are an idiot. Because this is the sort of stuff that you are supporting. I know right now you're telling me, I don't believe that though. But the people who you keep putting in office, the people who you are electing to office, the people who you keep telling need to be teaching our kids, who need to be running our medical establishment, you're the one who keeps putting them in these positions. So yeah, that's what you're supporting. You're an idiot if you keep supporting it.
Yep. These people of uterus. Yep.
Anyway, moving right along. Oh, let's go on to another one. All right. San Francisco. Need I really say any more? So in San Francisco, they are going to be opening what they refer to as safe injection sites. Now, California, the governor of California, who is running for re-election, he must be a little bit worried because he actually vetoed the state for a state bill that would have allowed safe injection sites throughout the state of California, and I think it would have helped. The bill would have helped fund them. But he actually vetoed the bill, vetoed the legislation. But San Francisco is still moving forward with their safe injection sites. Now, Mike, I don't want to get into the argument about legalizing drugs, but once again, the places where they have these injection sites right now, the areas where they've opened them up to allow people to just do drugs and they're not really doing anything, these places have turned into S-holes. I mean, we're talking needles strewn all about the place, human defecation and feces, people lying in the middle of the streets, just high, doing drugs. It is just really, really bad there in San Francisco. And they're planning on expanding the number of these places that are going to be available. And by the way, San Francisco has lost a greater percentage of its population than any other city in the United States. And they wonder why.
Well, nobody wants to get poop in their shoes. It's forever. You got to get rid of those pair of shoes when that happens. And, it's just covered with poop. So nobody wants to go there. I did see the media campaign. Greg, did you see the new media campaign for this? It said, if you're going to San Francisco, make sure you wear some syringes in your hair. So that's they're trying to make sure everybody's acceptable to this. It's just, listen, this is so bad, Craig. This policy is so horrible that Gavin Mussolini said no to it. That's how bad this policy is. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
It was so liberal that King Liberal LL Duce himself said, that's way too much. We can't do that. That's like men with uteruses. That's crazy talk, It's way beyond where we should be going. So that should tell you something about this policy.
It should tell you everything that you need to know. In fact, in San Francisco, what the district attorney has also said that if someone overdoses from drugs they buy from you, they are actually looking at charging those individuals. In particular, if it involves fentanyl, they're looking at charging them with homicide.
Sure. Yeah.
And the
exactly right.
I will say this, at least in terms of words, the new DA that's taken over for the guy who got kicked out. They appear to not be playing. Now we shall see, because Kamala Harris talked tough when she became DA, and she was, and as much as people want to give her a hard time saying, "Oh, well, you locked up a bunch of minorities for minor drug crimes," no, what she actually did was she took drug dealers and charged them as mere possessors of drugs and put them in jail for a little bit of time, as opposed to actually locking up drug dealers. But, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, they appear to be talking tough. We'll see what that equates to in the long run.
Yeah, the district attorney's office there. Yeah, so that's we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Yeah.
Yeah, but folks, San Francisco is not in a good place. Not a good place to visit. I wouldn't recommend visiting the city of San Francisco. It's just all bad, and nobody's living there. Everyone's moving out. They're either moving to other parts of California or moving to other parts of the country. That is how bad it is getting there in San Francisco. And stuff like this, plans like expanding where people can just shoot drugs and poop on the streets and all that. Yeah, that's not going to make things any better.
The former president had a term for the city of Baltimore, which I think would also apply here to San Francisco at this point.
Oh yeah, S-hole.
Yeah, there you go.
Which, considering how much defecation is on the streets there and how much the city pays to clean up defecation, I got to tell you, it's appropriate. At least you can say in some of the other countries that he referred to that as, at least they're not pooping in the streets.
Craig, I don't know why they don't put out, those little stanchions, little poles, and they put little plastic bags on them, and they say, "Please curb yourself." If you're gonna poop on the street, have the decency to get a bag and pick up your own poop and put it in the proper receptacle.
Yeah, one would think, but nah, it's just not happening.
You got to curb your dog, but you don't have to curb your homeless people. Sounds good.
Yep, pretty much. Good. All right, next in line, Californians. We are paying 70% more than the rest of the country. uh, for gas. Now, just so you know, it's gotten really, really bad in California because, well, for a number of different reasons. First of all, we have requirements on our gas that are much stricter in terms of emissions than most other states. The other reason has to do with the high amount of taxes. California has the highest taxes of any country, of any city, I'm sorry, or any state in the country. We have the highest taxes. But also in the state of California, we have not built a new oil refinery since 1969. And if you want to know how old that is, that was the year I was born, Mike. That is how long it has been since they have built a new refinery. So they are winding up and they're dealing with oftentimes shutdowns or unplanned maintenance because they're dealing with once again very, very old facilities in terms of trying to get some of this stuff done. But so as a result, these refineries are always breaking down, which basically means less fuel, less gas. That means less supply, and there's only a handful of refineries that produce this stricter form of gas or fuel. So that winds up with prices going up, and we saw prices go up 50 cents in less than a week here in California.
Yeah, Craig, first off, if you were born in 69, that doesn't make you old. That makes you super old. I had that explained to me a while ago. What's your price? Is there six and a quarter now? Is that what you said?
Six and a quarter is the average price.
There we go. We're 311 today. 311 here today. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Show
so
off.
we're not too bad here, but we got a governor who says we're not going to kill you with the taxes because our programs and our policies are responsible. We're not just going to take your money from you to do whatever we want to do. Also, folks, you listen. If you are in one of those countries right now, or excuse me, one of those states right now that you're sitting around going, well, my gas is cheap, my gas is here. Listen, don't be fooled by that either. Okay, it's been artificially raised for quite some time. It has come up for the policies that under the current administration, but now as we're approaching the election, and you see this every election cycle, I don't care which party it is, it's calculated, it's deals with the oil companies that we slowly bring the rates of the gas down at the time of election. That way it gives you more consumer confidence in the current people in office. So here's what you need to remember about gas right now is that on January 6th, right, just over a year and a half ago, gas was about $1.74 was the average around the country. So, and Craig, this is do the people in your state not see what your governor is doing, jacking these gas prices up for his special projects? You want to know what they just say now? Now they're going to be handing out ID cards to illegal immigrants because they don't want to discriminate against those that don't have cars. Well, folks, this is where that money comes from. Where do you think the governor doesn't pull money off the tree? They make it somewhere, and they make it off of you.
Yes, they do. It is beyond idiotic, but it is what it is. Folks, the elections have consequences. What's funny is, so the governor has decided that we're going to release. Normally what happens is that we actually use almost the same blend that other states use after certain days. So usually starting in November. They'll let us use what we call the winter blend, which is basically the gas that everyone else uses because supposedly it's not hot, people are driving less, so there's less issues with CO2 emissions. Well, he's put an executive order, basically saying, well, now we can start using the winter blend, basically because he's trying to get fuel prices to come down before the election, because someone is running for re-election, and he would hate for some miracle for a Republican to beat him.
That's it. Trying to modify the outlook. He's trying to improve consumer confidence. And listen, they could have done that on day one. All right. But you got to pay for it somewhere. And you know what? These gas execs, by the way, Craig, I want 5 minutes alone with the oil execs. That's what I want. 5 minutes alone. I'll take care of this problem. But listen, they just jack these prices up, and then they come along and say, listen, you got to cut your profit from 5,000% down to 3,000%. I need you to reduce the price of gas. Okay. That's what they do.
Yeah, sadly, it is. It is what it is. But like I said, elections have consequences. Just know that for anybody who says, well, the president has nothing to do with the price of gas. All I know is this: is that he signed a bunch of executive orders that had to do with us being energy independent and going after our own oil. And he made a number of statements to the oil execs, and all of a sudden, our gas prices doubled. So, cause and effect, baby, cause and effect.
Listen, if you find a person and that person tells you that the president has nothing to do with the price of gas, do your best to not strike them, but at a minimum, flee them. Do not stay near them.
Right.
They're idiots. They're morons. These are the people that will get hit by a car in a parking lot. Okay,
The policies he or she puts in place are vitally important. Play a huge role. Play a huge role. And let's go ahead and speaking of the president, the president actually, we're moving on to our parting shots, and the president actually just kind of came out with, talking about the best way to protect yourself during the hurricane. Whenever there's a natural disaster, there's one thing that we all must do, and that clearly is we need to. Well, I'll let him tell you.
If you're in a state where hurricanes often strike, like Florida or the Gulf Coast or into Texas, a vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated in a hurricane.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Clear. If you're in a state where hurricanes often strike,
Now, Mike.
Yep.
like Florida,
Clearly, somebody put this in his talking points. I don't how get any reasonable individual could even remotely say that getting vaccinated has anything to do with hurricane.
Well, Craig, all I can think is that maybe the vaccination mixes with the bread and the toilet paper that I have to buy in order to survive, and you make some sort of MacGyver formula with them and create a barrier around your house. I have no idea. This guy's an idiot. Although now it's got me thinking, maybe for the next hurricane, I don't put the boards on the windows. I just go get a booster. And
Right.
like,
Well,
hey, look,
the
like,
one
look,
thing
I
I
got
can
my
the one thing I can think of is if they plan on not providing resources, if they plan on not providing food or shelter or medical to people who are not vaccinated. That's all I can think. That's the only thing that I can think. If you are a first responder, you will not be allowed to work and save people during hurricanes if you have not gotten vaccinated. That's the only. That's literally the only part of any of that could make any sense, and that also says something very horrific about the president and their position on vaccines and vaccinations, especially since, well, as the president said, the pandemic is over.
That's right. That's right. But you still need the vaccination, Craig, to hold back the water, the rising water, and the hurricane force winds. Evidently, that's
Exactly.
how it works.
Exactly. And for the final parting shot, I wanted to take a moment and share this. While he was not doing interviews, he was taking photos with folks. So I made it a point to get myself a photo with Kyle Rittenhouse, the patron saint of Kenosha, or the patron saint of F Around and Find Out.
You look so old compared to him, Craig. I mean,
That's
so
because
awesome
I am.
So awesome compared to him.
That's because I am compared to him. Look, if you were standing next to him, you would look equally as old.
But you said is awesome, though, right? That's what you said. Awesome.
Old. See, your hearing is already going.
That's it. I'm just trying to redirect you because at your age, it's easy
Right.
to do, Mr. President.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Shake some strange.
All right, let's say goodbye to our sponsor friends. Let's say hello to our good friends at Hitman Tactical, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Hitman Industries, go out there and get some barrels for your rifles, for your ARs. Go to California Republican Assembly. Make sure you support them and Mussolini and his gas prices. And then, of course, if you want some awesome combat gear, when you've had enough and you just want to take to the woodline, get you some uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Once again, those are our sponsors. You can find them in the links. Their links are in the description to this program. Visit them and make sure you tell them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. With that, we're going to call it a day. We'll be back tomorrow on Hump Day. You guys have a good evening.